don't really need, because look at that. Look at that A3 from GNUT. Without a doubt, the best fusion we had in the last couple of years in terms of how useful it is for all players from day zero, right? Day one that you acquire GNUT all the way to the end game, the players who have nothing else really to do other than just grind for a little bit more of an improvement to their gear. Well, GNUT, guys, I finally built mine up. I summoned him for the CVC and I'm ready to go for my Fire Knight team. I made a Fire Knight 10 hard team and I want to show it to you guys because it does use some familiar champions. It actually uses one epic champion. There's multiple different champions you can add into it, and of course the gear requirements are high naturally, as hard 10 of the Fire Knight, guys, is one of the most difficult dungeons you'll ever attempt, guaranteed. And not only that, there's still some possibilities for failure because of the 3% chance to get resisted in the Fire Knight. So this video, the point of it is just to showcase the Fire Knight hard 10 team that I've made for my account, but I'll explain how you can use it for lower difficulties of the Fire Knight. You can use the same concept behind it for any of the hard stages with the less requirement in terms of speed, which will make it easier, especially on something like hard mode 6 of the Fire Knight, which is relatively easier compared to hard mode 10, right? So having that in mind, here's my GNUT. I'll show you guys the other champions used in this team, but of course GNUT is the MVP here. The reason for him is because he does have that A1 that applies a freeze, which the freeze translates into a terminator reduction. A triple hitting attack also really comes into to play here for hard mode on the Fire Knight. Let me show you the bonus I also have, because those actually really matter for this one. So I was actively investing in the live arena, so I do have some nice bonuses here, like 12 plus 12 on speed, which is the maximum from the silver live arenas, right? Extra bit of ignore defense, extra bit of accuracy here, plus 32, and I can even get it a little bit higher once I push a little bit more in live arenas, and then extra crit damage. So overall, all those bonuses slowly add up and really matter. All right, so have that in mind when you're doing your live arenas, that these will affect your end game potential. So here is the stats for my GNUT. Obviously, you want to have enough accuracy to land that freeze slash terminator reduction. I use relentless on him. Not very easy to get relentless, especially because you gotta get 1 or 2 in the tournaments. Not that easy anymore, or you just gotta whale out and buy the packs. Obviously, maxed out, his A3 will come into play here. You need to reduce that cooldown. 4 turns is quite long, especially when you're fighting the Fire Knight, so that's where relentless come into play. Also, if you got reflex, that can also help, but I don't have that many reflex on my account that I can actually use here, so didn't really go for it. Giant Slayer here adds for a lot more damage. Have that in mind. And I should have gone for Cycle of Magic, but chose not to, because it's just a random 5% chance. It's still there, but it's not that impactful. And that's pretty much GNUT, right? Let's go for the other champions within the team. The other champions are what make the team actually work. Okay, you need them, but you can have alternatives for these. Razelvarg, I would say, is very special. He is a past fusion, I believe, or fragment collection we had. Can't remember. He becomes very fast as the fight goes on for longer and longer. The more A3s he uses, the faster he goes because of the increased speed buffs. He also helps his whole team, but also himself with plus 100 speed. So he's relatively very fast here. Then the other 3 champions I have here. The other 3 champions, it's basically 2 ally attack champions that have to have a team ally attack. So Firekin, if you've got 2 of them, you can still use 2 of them because of this. All right. It will use up all his allies to attack a enemy. Of course, Firekin the Fat is not ideal because he himself doesn't attack. It's just the one, counter off the shield that you're gonna do. So it's not that impactful, which is where my Longbeard comes into play. I've got other champions that have got ally attacks, but Longbeard actually attacks together with his allies. So that can be impactful in terms of reducing that big shield. And then we have that champion that you can get from the Clash Shop, Yakarl the Scourge. I think this is one of the first champions. I think is it the only one where he actually changes the background, which is so cool. I wish they did it for other champions also. He changes the background, so cool. He's like a free champion, of course, or all his skills do something with a freeze, and that's where freeze translate into turn meter reduction. He also has a decreased speed, so immediately you think about Fire Knight when you use your Carl, and that's where I use him here. That the decreased speed becomes very useful for just dropping that 250 speed that the Fire Knight has on hard mode 10 and dropping it down by 30%, which is huge in order to go more times against the enemy boss. Okay, and there's times where the boss will not take a turn. If the boss takes a turn, most of the time it's gonna be a failure, right? So if I get resisted on that decreased speed, it's gonna be bad time for me. So if you depend on the decreased speed to actually win the fight, it becomes, you know, unfortunately no way around it. You're gonna lose out on that run. Okay, and I mean that's how it works also on the Fire Knight 25. If you're working with something like a Cold Heart and she gets resisted on her turn meter reduction, you need that to keep control of the boss's turn meter, then it's still the same kind of thing. So this is the team. There are alternatives though. Okay, so let's say you got a second GNUT. You can possibly use him for just more damage potential, just straight up raw damage. But there's this one epic that I want to get. It's I forgot which faction he is. I thought he was Night Elves. He's offered currently right now through the Prism summons. Is this guy here? Cryo than the Blue, right? Sylvan Watchers. For some reason I thought he was Night Elves at the start. Well, I guess because of his face. Anyway, this guy is very strong. He also has a freeze on the A1. It's a triple hitting attack also that definitely helps with reducing the counter there. He also has a double hitting freeze chance here with his A2, and then he also has a speed boosting and turn meter fill skill. This is insane in terms of the potential it can bring to the team. You can consider him instead of Razovarg or Yakarl. I haven't obviously tried because I don't have him. I don't know about Cryodan's damage, if it can compare to Razovarg. I highly doubt it, because my Razovarg is built with a pretty good amount of damage, and also he is a 5-star awakening, which is my only champion that really has a good chance to do the Phantom Touch. After the nerfs to Phantom Touch, it's a 75% chance, guys. It's not guaranteed, but it's still there. I wish I could get the 6-star, but it's not even easy to get the 6-star. It's really expensive. And he's very fast, 289 with 260 crit damage, 6,000 attack. That is not easy to get, I know, but he helps push through the waves pretty fast. Before we go into the fight, I want to show you guys the custom AI for the team here. We have Razovarg, where we basically just disable his A2 on round 3 and have him open up with his A1 triple hitting attack, but with Phantom Touch that can sometimes hit 4 times. Look at his speed, look at his damage, look at his attack. It's a really high end Razovarg. As I said, Cryodon might be able to do his sort of damage, but I doubt it. Maybe with the speed boosting, he can help out your Carl and not do something. We have Firekin the Fat next, 303 speed. That's with all the bonuses from the Fire Knight live arena bonuses and all that. So really, with Firekin and Longbeard, you're just using reflex gear, and you basically want to disable your skills, right? So you especially don't use your ally attack once you go to round 3. You want to have that available, so on round 3 you have that as priority and use it immediately when you can. Then your Carl, he's there for basically the decreased speed. That's why we disable it, to have it available to hit on the boss and apply the decreased speed, and the freeze also, which drops the turn meter a little bit by 15%. So that's why we need accuracy. We don't really care about his damage, but it does help. And then GNUT here, we disable the A2. The reason for that is the decreased attack might help you survive if the boss gets a hit, but in the cases where you don't need the decreased attack and you just need, oh, I wish my GNUT hit with his A1 instead of the A2 there, that would have given me the win. Well, you do this, you disable the A2, and then you basically only use the Blessed Bash and the A1, which is, whenever this is not available, he'll be using the A1, which is the turn meter control. So that's the team, guys. Basically, everybody above 250 speed. You really need a champion at 300 speed, and that's Razovarg and Firekin. And that's the team. Razovarg will be boosting his own speed, by the way, as the fight goes on. longer and longer. The more time he uses his A3, the better. So let's go in. We'll see this team in action right now. You see the ally attack is used here, but it doesn't really matter because I have it locked out. After that, he'll rotate through and have it available once we reach round 3. My team is not that strong in terms of beating the waves that fast for me to consider disabling it. So here Razovac, where his AoE is so good, really helps drop down the health values. Although the freeze reduces the damage enemies take, it's fine. In here, round 2, this is a trickier round, especially with this one right here. Riho not only stops her from, her passive stops her from receiving debuffs the first time around, she can also cleanse, and she also hits very hard. So if your speeds are not good enough, she'll hit one of your champions, and if you're not tanky, she'll kill them. Single target killing one of your champions, and she'll target the one she thinks, based on the AI and how AI works, she'll target the one she thinks she's gonna get the kill on. So have that in mind, that she can be a real nasty one. So look at that. Look at that. We used our A3, so it's now on a cooldown. It's kind of okay because we need the thermometer control anyway, but it might be like a longer fight. My best time here, I think, was the 2-minute 20 or something. We'll see how this goes. I'm actually considering using something else instead of Farrakhan, because he doesn't go into the ally attack himself. But I'll have to check again all my ally attack champions that I have currently on the account. The decreased speed is huge, as I said, from your Carl. That's why you gotta work on him through the clan shop. Speed down plus freeze really translates very well for this dungeon. Decreased defense is okay. Boost our damage, but okay, you don't really need it, and that comes from Farrakhan. So here we're just hitting, basically waiting on GNUT here to get his A3 and controlling the boss. Basically the boss now is not taking a turn, and you see the reflex gear on both of the champions. You'll see decreased cooldown. That's when the reflex procs for either Farrakhan or Longbeard there. Probably Longbeard's gonna have his ally attack sooner from what I'm guessing, because I have his A2 disabled as well, which is just a weekend application, which don't really need, because look at that A3 from GNUT. 2 minutes 30. Kind of a longer fight, but there's the ally attack. Boom, boom, boom. Look at the thermometer down. Look at that. The boss is not taking a turn. There's another ally attack. That's probably gonna give us the kill, right? Almost. Yeah, there it is. 238 with 54 turns. My fastest time was actually 219, and I get a 6-star crit damage. I can roll this. Maybe I get lucky with some rolls, and then I can rework it. But yeah, that's the team, guys. As I said, there's issues with consistency sometimes because, well, Farrakhan does not do the ally attack himself. If you don't get the phantom touch here, he'll only do a couple of hits compared to the multiple ones he can do. So really, awakenings play a big role here. I even have phantom touch on my GNUT. I'm possibly going to change it on your Carl as well, maybe even Farrakhan, but these are very low chances. And Farrakhan himself, since he doesn't attack on the ally attack that he does, it's not really impactful. The current blessing I have on him doesn't really play that much overall now that I think of it. So I'll probably change it to phantom touch on everybody, which is the meta really for hard mode 10. But yeah, that's the team, guys. As I said on stage 6, this should be insanely easier. Okay, stage 6 should be an easier farm because of the number that the shield has for the boss at the end is way lower. All right, it's not the 21. I believe it's 19, which is 3 hits. Well, I think it's 18, not 19. I think it's 2 or 3 hits less. So it's very impactful. It's like basically not requiring the phantom touch, which is again kind of a requirement when doing Fire Knight. So let's see how fast we can do this one. We're already at 30 seconds. Can we do round 2 before the 50 seconds maybe? We'll see. GNUT getting the extra turn. That's the RNG we need. The weekend. Look at Razovac dropping in big damage. So yeah, Razovac basically for free. GNUT basically for free. There's also that Fire Knight tournament. Well, champion training tournament right now, not Fire Knight. For the Fire Knight skin for GNUT. I'm thinking about it, but it's a lot of resources to spend just for a skin for GNUT, which I do like GNUT, but not so much. Kind of tired of the champion training. I want to use it for getting champions, not really for skins. So here, look at that, 18 on the finite shield. We'll drop it even lower now. Look at that. Look at all the attacks in there. We drop it down to 4. That's insane. That was Phantom Touch actually. So look at how low we can drop the turn to. The same speeds as before, right? Everything is the same as before, but on 6 it's much easier. And on 6, the chance to get the mythical gear, guys, it's still okay. It's 3% compared to the 5% on difficulty 10. So it goes up by 0.5% on each stage. So have that in mind. And this becomes a much smoother run. If you're having issues with 10, you just run 6. It's still void. You don't have any issues with affinities, and you just lay back and relax and enjoy the rewards of farming the hard difficulty of the Fire Knight, which is the eventual mythical piece that can help you push through to those higher stat potentials. So here, look at that big burst of damage from GNUT. I wish I had more reflex, but reflex is so random to get it. You just need to spam that bazaar and hope for the best, really. So again, look at the time is pretty much the same because it's like a rotation of skills, but it works very well. So ally attack goes through. Lovely. Look at that, 233, and it's probably gonna be really consistent, even more consistent than my best time. My best time was again 52 turns, but 2 minutes. So yeah, it was probably like something with the Valkyrie. Probably something with the Valkyrie. We got a 6-star. Frenzy one, don't really need the frenzies anymore. So yeah, guys, those were the runs. Let me just show off my gear just so you guys can have an idea of Razzlevarg. It's just random gear, not savage or cruel, but high crit damage because of the blessing. High speed, very high attack because of the blessing again. Masteries, I went with Giant Slayer because of the triple hits. And then my ally attack basically are built the same, okay? War Master on Firekin, I have some reflex, although I've seen it 0 times so far. Proccing. Reflex works so well, right? And the refresh ring here, the refresh accessories here work very well. Also, when it happens, you're so happy it did happen, okay? It makes the run 100% basically. I was thinking about changing cruelty, but changing it to Phantom Touch, it's still like a 30% chance, which is kind of sad. But I might do it. And then Longbeard, right here, guys. Again, pretty much the same thing as Firekin in terms of stats. I don't need all that resistance. It just happened because I think I have a resistance chest piece there. And then I don't even have him fully booked because I just need the cooldown reduction here on his ally attack skill. And then masteries, again, pretty much I didn't care for all of this. And yeah, that's it, guys. That's it. That's the team. I showed GNUT at the start. I think Yakarl is only the one left. War Master with damage, okay? You can possibly go Relentless if you don't want all this damage, but he helps with the wave. So I went with damage. And you need to push on his accuracy so he lands the decreased speed. So if you don't have the boost, all right, from the extra accuracy, you gotta need to push a little bit on live readiness if you can outpush it through your gear. So that's it, guys, for today. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.